Happy Super Sunday, last week of the NFL season, regular season. Oh man, brother, it has come. We are going way too fast with life, but that's what it is. How we doing? Super Sunday. I'm back at you live with your host, this guy. Hope you're doing well today. Watched two games yesterday. Just AFC North. Doesn't get any better than that. The physicality, the toughness. These teams hate the fuck out of each other. I love it. I'll get into that right off the bat. So let's do that. So, Ravens-Browns was my first game I watched. Now I was out driving around doing some stuff. So I kind of kept up with the game. And Cleveland early on was driving down the field and ding, 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 ding. For a team that has nothing to play for, it doesn't matter. These rivalry games, they mean something. And it means something to Jim Schwartz and that Browns staff and Stefanski and Andrew Berry. So, they were bang, 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 driving down the field. Runs, passes, getting Zaley Zappi in the move. I couldn't believe they've had 40 quarterbacks since 1999. Wow. Insanity. Bears are the second most, I think, with 30. God help us. And then the game just unraveled. I think Cleveland just got out of sync. They threw the pick six to Nate Wiggins. Congrats on him. First ever pick in the NFL is a pick six. How cool is that? But I will say this, though, from my standpoint. Okay? My standpoint. I think Cleveland, just be glad the season's over. You got a lot of things to clean up. And listen, this is not on anybody's fault. It's not on Stefanski. It's not on Andrew Berry. I get you better be crossing your fingers Myles Garrett comes back. Because I'm hearing rumors he might leave. And you cannot do that. I understand. And it's hard to believe that, just a year ago, they were playoffs. Joe Flacco comes off the couch, gets you to the playoffs. He had a great season. Myles Garrett's a stud. I mean, he's everything that Clowney should have been is what Myles Garrett is. 6'4", 272, size, speed, power. He's the perfect pass rusher you want to build, okay? And he's a great guy in general. There's no bullshit with him. He's a high-character guy. You don't let those guys out your fucking building. Now, would there be a suitor for Myles Garrett? Abso-fucking-lutely, and start this clock over. But Cleveland's got a lot of issues. And I think they're trapped, man. They gave Deshaun Watson all that guaranteed money. You don't know with Myles Garrett. There's just a lot of moving parts. I don't know what the fuck the Browns do. This falls back on the owner. Stupid shit, stupid prizes. And Jimmy Haslam's to blame. He can't blame nobody but himself, but that man in the mirror. That's who he's got to blame. Because this Brown team, I said it a couple weeks ago, they remind me of the Bears. They're right there. Now, they're both fucked up organizationally, but I'm saying in terms of talent, you look at the Browns and the Bears, they got talent, man. There's talent everywhere. And the coaching is better than Chicago. Coaching's right there. You got a two-time coach of the year. This guy's not a bum. He's been to the playoffs. He won a playoff game with Baker Mayfield. He's proven. And this GM, you can fault him for missing. Every GM misses. But how many hits has this guy got? I mean, Jerry Jeudy balled out. He rewrote his career. Their offensive line's still solid. They got Nick Chubb. They got players, but it falls back on ownership. And I just feel bad for Brown fans because I'm a Raider fan. I feel the same thing. We got good players. Our organization's just a shit mess. So it's just a sad, sad day to be a Brown fan. Enjoy this offseason. You don't have to watch any more of this shitty football product. Hopefully next year you get back on track. So that's my reaction to the Browns. Just an awful, awful season from hell. Disappointing, despite Myles Garrett's best efforts. Jerry Jeudy, Nick Chubb coming back. I'm so glad he's back. He's been one of my favorite players since he was at Georgia. Didn't love what he did to my Raiders 2018 in his first NFL game, but it is what it is. We end up winning that one, 45-42, I believe, out in Oakland. But my point is this is just a shame, and that's my take on the Browns. So I want to flip over to the Ravens. Max Lawson, talking to you, big guy. Congrats on your Ravens. You won the division. You get the 3 seed. Awesome. And you should be happy this morning. However, you got to be wary about Zay Flowers. Excuse me. I almost said Xavier Flowers, but it's Zay Flowers. The elite, talented receiver. He's a little small, but he plays physical. He's tough. He's a Raven, right? He fits Baltimore's culture. Max Lawson knows this better than anybody. Ray Lewis. Those guys fit that culture. And you got to cross your fingers that knee's okay, that it's not season ending. Now, I will say this. Lamar has been doing this all year long, most games without Zay. Now, Zay Flowers has been a big part of that. Zay Flowers, excuse me, has been a big part of their game plan. No question about it. But Lamar's thrown 40 touchdowns to different people. So there are some times, though, I feel like Lamar's not picking and sticking, just going to him all the time. You want to get him involved? Sure. But I feel like they're just a selfless group of players in terms of perimeter. You know, Mark Andrews can get his. Isaiah Likely can get his. Bateman, who I've always liked. I was thinking about this today at the gym, get my leg day in. And I've always liked Bateman a lot at Minnesota. Him and Tyler Johnson were just a really good tandem for, what's the quarterback's name? I'm leaving the blank here. Tanner Morgan, okay? So I've always liked Bateman a lot. It took him a while to get going and get that momentum clicking with him. But look what the Ravens do. They wait, they develop, they wait. Great organizations do that and the good ones. So that was a great sign yesterday. So Baltimore is going to be fine. They're running the ball with Henry. How do you stop this offense? I mean, you can load the box, try and stop Lamar, but the minute, he's out, Derrick Henry's getting two in a cloud of dust and then 40. So this offense is very hard to defend. Their defenses, that was much maligned early in the year. Look at what happened. They experiment early, kind of like New England during their dynasty run. Not saying Baltimore is, but it kind of reminds me of that. Experiment early, then we get the whole cake baked, and that's what's happening right now in Baltimore. Congrats on the Ravens. You got to worry about Zay Flowers, but another season, dominant. You got a playoff game, probably at home because you're the division winner. Obviously, every division winner has a home playoff game. But now you just got to see where the seeding goes and where the chips may lay. So congrats to Max Lawson and all my Raven fans out there. Ty Lewis, I'm talking to you. And congrats, you got in and you beat out the Steelers for the AFC North title. So I wanted to flip to the Steelers, and I just mentioned them. I watched the highlights today. I before I hopped on here, I was watching highlights. I've been busy all morning. I watched the Browns-Ravens. I gave you guys my reaction on that. And now I'm going to talk about Bengals-Steelers and what an absolute collapse choke job this Steeler team is. And I'll get to the Bengals right now, though. So the Bengals are just amazing to me. And when I watch Joe Burrow, my dad texted me this last night, how about them Bengals? He spelled it wrong, but I'll give it a pass. But when I watch Joe Burrow, I see a better version of Tony Romo with mixes of Andrew Luck. He's a total badass quarterback. Takes hits, stands in the gun barrel, and just fires strikes. And I do have a feeling that the Bengals and the Colts, I was thinking about this today, are very similar in terms of they had a quarterback for years, Carson Palmer, Peyton Manning. Those guys escape. They take over losing cultures, Luck and Burrow, both number 1 overall picks. And they get them to the playoffs instant, overnight. So I do feel, it's just my take, okay? I worry about Joe Burrow in terms of his health because this offensive line is awful. And I do worry, though, this is what's going to become of it because the Bengals need a new coach. I'm sorry, Zach Taylor, he's okay, but he's riding off the coattails of what that season was. And I just feel like this is just a waste of season. Now, you are in the playoffs for now, but you got to hope and pray for a lot of scenarios. Now, my other counterpoint to that is, why the flying hell are you guys taking so long to get going in the season? You always start off slow. Can you start off a little bit quicker, a little bit faster? Maybe you should do that, and then we wouldn't be in the spot. So I do think that the Bengals, should they get a new coach? Probably not, because I don't think it's in their DNA to do it. I would do it. I go hire Vrabel. I go hire some culture guy that can get this ship right, because at least, compared to these other jobs, if Vrabel were to take them, he's got a quarterback elite in place in Joe Burrow with Jamar Chase in those weapons. You have pieces there, and your defense ain't bad. It just had a bad down year this year from Lou Amarillo. So I do think the Bengals, they are a playoff team. They do scare me in terms of Joe Burrow because he's a Patrick Mahomes slayer. But congrats to the Bengals. Beating your division rival is not easy. Those division games are always come down to the wire, always gritty and tough and blue collar. And I love that with football. And sometimes I like to see some rock'em sock'em slug it out fest. And Packers-Bears, right now I'm recording this while that game's going on. We should not be losing the Bears, but it is what it is. So, going to the Pittsburgh side. All my realizations that I've been screaming for years have come true last night. This Steeler team is a joke. They are not a good watch. It is time to move on from Mike Tomlin. It's time. If he loses next week, bye. Get him out. It's time to move on. He's worn out his welcome. We know he's won a Super Bowl. We know every year he gets 10 wins. Oh, my God. We know. But this is the standard, Pittsburgh. You've fallen to it. And it's a joke. This organization is the biggest brand in football. You got sweet players. But your quarterback position sucks. I love Russell. And he's a Badger, and I will always love him. But he's not what he was. I mean, those decisions last night, dude, get out of fucking bounds. What are you trying to prove? What are you doing? Get out of bounds. And Mike Tomlin, what are you doing? Call the fucking timeout. Are you deaf? Are you stupid? What are you doing? I mean, in the Steelers from this going forward, what quarterback do you have? The Browns got their mess, so whatever. But you got two guys in the peak of their powers right now. They're in their peak, man. It's like Attitude Era in WWE. You're in their peak. You have Burrow and Lamar Jackson. And what are you going to do? You're going to go get probably some bum and make it work. Your defense, I keep hearing how great it is. I understand it is. Your front seven always been good. My whole life with Pittsburgh, they've been great. They're saying there's been mid and miss. But come on, man. It's time to move on. This would be great getting 10 wins a year from different franchises. And I get the Steelers do not like stirring the pot and being dysfunctional. That I understand. But there comes a point with loyalty where it's kind of overrated. And this situation is overrated. Because there's no excuse this offense should not do better. Now, some people can say, well, Arthur Smith, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. Arthur Smith's done a nice job. It's the quarterback position, and you didn't really do it when Big Ben near the end because you were scared and afraid. Whatever. Green Bay, you can say this all you want. Green Bay's more successful than you, and they're one of the biggest brands in football. They've won playoff games lately. Oh, by the way, how great is Mike Tomlin really? He hasn't won a playoff game since 2016. By the way, I was in college. Do I need to remind you he lost to Tebow? Joke. Baker Mayfield, my doppelganger. And he lost to Blake Bortles. Lost Jacksonville twice at home, homeboy. Come on now. Come on. It's time to move on. I've seen enough. And by the way, George Pickens, shame on you. You are a joke. You don't care enough. It's just embarrassing. It's a joke. This guy's a bum. Get him out of here. Bitching and moaning all the time. All this other shit. He gets the ball thrown to him. He's bitching about not getting the ball. Pandered me. We gave you the ball last night, George. And you know what happened? You caught 3 balls that were in your fucking hands and you dropped them. I don't want to hear excuses. Stop bitching. Stop complaining to fans. They pay their hard-earned money to come watch you play, and you suck. And you're a joke. 1 catch, 6 yards last night with 3 drops? Are you kidding me? But once again, Mike Tomlin allows this shit. How many times, I thought about this last night, how many times am I going to hear this movie? You know what's funny with Pittsburgh Steelers receivers? They've drafted them so damn well. And Green Bay does too, but they're not the big names like Pittsburgh Steelers have. Mike Wallace made plays. Hines Ward made plays. Plaxico, before he was a dumbass and shot himself in a nightclub, idiot, made plays with Pittsburgh. And I get they've drafted some knuckleheads. AB, this guy, Plaxico Burress, Martavis Bryant. Okay, your whole football team's like choir boys. But my point is, George Pickens is frustrating because you watch the talent, but he's a shitbird, man. And it's just a joke. Get him out. It's time. You need to set a standard, Pittsburgh. This standard of defense and all this other shit. Come on, man. It's time to move on from Tomlin. He's done enough. But you know what? Unlike Green Bay, unlike you, Pittsburgh, moved on for a Super Bowl winning coach. His name was Mike McCarthy. And they won a Super Bowl just like this coach did. And Green Bay was willing to move on. Pittsburgh's clinging, and it's annoying. But do what you want, Pittsburgh. Keep bitching that we won 10 games. Oh, my God. Yeah, great. Good for Jacksonville. Good for the Jets. You're the Pittsburgh Steelers, damn it. It's time to do something changing. You got to do something. Because this is just getting tired and old year in, year out with Pittsburgh. I get they're consistent. But it's time to move on. Do something for a change. Get uncomfortable. Okay? So, that's all I wanted to get on here today. And to recap, Bengals playoffs, you're hanging on by across the hair of your nuts. You're kind of hanging on. And the Steelers, once again, first round exit to a team that was 10-3. And I just found it funny. Like, everybody's talking about, oh my God, let's sign Russell Wilson 3 years. I'm not now. You can pay him 5 to 7 and bring him as a bridge. Whatever. But hell, what the fuck do I know? So that's all I want to talk about today, guys. Stay tuned throughout the week. I got a lot of content. Give you guys some reactions to a couple games today. Tonight's game, which is huge implications in the NFC playoff picture. Stay tuned throughout the week. I got my YouTube channel, my Instagram. Hit subscribe, like, share to your friends. Let the word out. And to talk to you guys soon. Have a happy Super Sunday.